Hi, everybody.
I think I did it.
You did do it.
Yeah, this is, I think that you're like the only one that I've done a show with, like kind of hosted. So this is kind of, this is the second time. So thank you for coming back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you to everyone who's here. This is going to be kind of an open show today. This is Jeffrey Peck, Evidential Medium. Has a podcast, something super spiritual. Definitely worth checking out. And we are just going to do a little chat and reading. So if you have questions, I already see one there about the Antichrist. Not wasting any time. So we'll go ahead and do some readings and see how it goes. So feel free to post any questions. So how have you been?
How have I been? I've been good. I've been really, really great. But as most people know, I've had the surgery at the end of November, so I've been healing, and it's been a journey, but big picture, awesome. And I'm grateful to be here with you. Here today, as with the two of us. It's been a while since we've done this, so we're like, wait, how do we get this going again?
Well, I got the video playing, so that was an achievement right there. So it's a good sign. Yeah, I guess while people post questions, I mean, what just generally speaking, I know you've had some guests and such. What is coming through, or kind of hot topics that you think are important for people to kind of be considering, thinking about right now. Not to put you on the spot.
for this year, you mean like for this year? Well, there's a lot. There's a lot going on this year. There's so much going on around the world. There's a lot energetically going on, and even like with all of the crazy star, or what is it called, where the sun is doing those bursts of solar storms, that are like, it's really bizarre that the black spots on the sun are way bigger than we've seen them, as far as I know, right?
Yeah.
So energetically, the synchronicities that are happening, it's just, there's a lot going on. And then this year too is an election year for us, and all that crazy stuff going on with the politics and the Epstein that list that's come out, like, and I don't jump into the politics. It's not my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Like Linda G, and Kim, those guys, that's totally their lane, right? But I'm bringing it up because there's so much going on right now. There's so much going on. So here we are at the very beginning of the year, and we're like, okay, well, what do we do to prepare? What do we have to do? So, I am just doing my best in just remaining present and planning out a year of healing and together, events where we can all get together and strengthen our light and our intentions, and because we're so much better together, and that's what it's going to take for us to get through all of this crazy global stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the political is interesting. I mean, I'll and I have kind of brought it up in some other, the few shows that I've been on. But there's a lot of information that's coming through just in terms of like major how to put it, information, and kind of like surrounding the Sphinx, and and so there's all this, it's just this weird kind of, I guess, juxtaposition where it's like everything's intensifying in terms of political and everything else, and the global, wars and everything, nuclear scares, all that. And then on the flip side, just kind of I feel like sometimes I'm working on the other side.
Yeah.
Because it's almost, and I guess that makes sense just in terms of the balance of, as the light gets stronger, the dark gets stronger. Not saying all politics are darkness, but it's that tension and that energy is building, and it's only because I think there are potential, and I hesitate to use the word revelations, but I mean, we're on this brink of this major unfolding of our history, on the planet and things like that. So it's a weird mix of excitement and how to navigate it, basically.
Yeah, that's it. How to navigate it, for sure. I think that there's also a lot more ET stuff coming, a lot more this year. I think a lot more of us are being consciously connected to them in a way where, like the information you get in your sessions, right? It's becoming a lot more prevalent. It's like, yeah. I mean, I've had some experiences just in the last, just this last year, almost, and I feel like I'm being prepared for what's to come, like the channeling or the information or the downloads, and I'm not quite sure how it is, but I've had some really bizarre experiences, and I'm like, wow, okay, I didn't see that one coming. But okay.
What are some of these experiences?
In one of my sessions with the Mind Bloom, where it's the microdosing the ketamine, it's for another treatment for depression, anxiety. Excuse me. In my sessions, because of how I'm wired, I travel. I'm consciously traveling, and I see and experience beings and loved ones and places and all this amazing stuff to go within and heal and to bring through this level of understanding with regard to my anxiety and why I've been like a cat in a room full of rocking chairs my entire life, and it's been incredible. And at the end of 2 of these sessions that I did, it was like I was in the universe, not just in the universe, but the universe, but consciously experiencing itself as myself. It's really hard to explain. Does that make sense?
It does to me.
Yeah. So, and all of a sudden I saw this being in front of me, and it was like, I guess, like a gray would look, or a white, or one of them. And it felt so familiar. It felt like familial almost, right? And there was just this quick flash, and it was like an introduction or a reintroduction, like, hey, here we are. And that familial feeling just had this sense of like, there's a lot more coming. And I was like, wow, okay. Naturally I came out of that thinking, did I make that up? But I've come to learn with this work that, that's as real as this, so I'm like, okay, just being open and receptive to what is meant to come from this. Right.
I mean, just in my own experiences of like doing readings and things, it's kind of funny because right when I started doing hypnosis sessions, it's like I was, which I really, really wanted deep down, like to have the sessions where ETs come through, or, someone has a ET as a guide, or someone is incarnated on the earth this time around, but really, is some other type of being or entity. And right off the bat, it was people who were planets, or people. I had a girl that she was like, it wasn't even a past life, it was like simultaneous life, which is kind of like, at least for the sessions I'm doing, is so it's common, and we're at a point in our own evolution and knowledge where they're revealing this information that we're not just living one lifetime, we're having multiple experiences and multiple responsibilities.
That is so true. That's been coming through my sessions as well, where I'm recognizing other aspects of my soul, which I'm seeing as other lifetimes. But as I'm witnessing and recognizing these aspects of myself, it's all right now. It's not like the life 2,000 years ago is no different than what's happening right this very second in what I think this reality is, you know? Oh yeah, it's been a whole lot. It's been, very interesting.
Yeah. And I just, it's almost like, you know, we call like what I do past life regression, but it's really, it's all one. I mean, it's everything is happening all at once, which we're not really supposed to understand, but I think it makes it easier to understand in some ways, because it's like, now I understand why the pioneer in the 17, or, you know, whenever pioneers were 1700s.
Sure.
Now I understand why this lifetime is affecting me, because it's happening right next door. And so it's kind of like, you know, I know at least with QHHT sessions, they only, like the higher selves or whatever else, spirit only reveals what we're capable of understanding and ready to know. So the fact that so many people are being awakened to the fact that, yeah, you are fighting wars in another dimension. Or a really interesting one was I met with a guy who, and like our abilities are being turned on overnight. It's a flip of a switch. And I had a guy who, he came from a very conservative background and a very conservative religious background. And he woke up one morning and it was like, I feel like I'm losing my mind. And
yeah. Oh, wow.
He was having visions. He would, you know, have these visions that would happen 2 hours later. He was exhausted every day. He explained a situation where it was like, he felt like a past relationship of his in this life, she was still energetically affecting him some way. And it sounded kind of like, I don't know, like Jerry Springer-ish, I guess. But it ended up that when it came through the session, is their life or their energetic connection wasn't just this lifetime. They were in another dimension, and her type of, I don't want to say wrath, but he was a threat to her. And so there was this connection that had to be released. I mean, it just gets so complex, but yeah, the parallel lifetimes, and that we have multiple lifetimes, and also just even we all have like guides, galactic guides too, and they're making themselves more known
Totally
to people.
Yeah, you know what I find so fascinating about all of this is just the synchronicity in it all. Like this last 100 years or however many years that the quantum physics has been studied and starting to be understood. Well, I mean, obviously there's this much understood of it, but starting to really recognize that it's all happening at the same time, you know, and how there's so many of us that are waking up to all of this, the spiritual senses going full online, and we're experiencing all of this simultaneously, and it doesn't make sense to us individually in the moment, more than likely, until we start having conversations like you and I are having, where you've experienced it your way, I've experienced it my way, and there's so many of us that are like, whoa, this is totally real. So, yeah, it's fascinating. It's totally fascinating.
Especially, I mean, at least where I do, you know, the area I do the it's it's not as open of an area as, say, California or anything else, but and so people who come to see me it's sometimes like, I can't talk about this with anybody. And the funny thing is, it's like, even with what they share, it's common. It's like, I'm sensing these things, and I'm having these experiences, and I saw ETs last night in my room. I mean, and that's not to scare anyone. It's, but I think that it's so affirming for me to be able to say, well, actually, you know, over the past couple of weeks, this has been happening to other people, and it's not just you. So it's a relief. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I just think it's important to talk about, because we're in a time where there is a lot of unexplainable, or the ununderstandable, and needing us to step outside of logic and reason, and trusting intuition, and trusting ourselves, and trusting the voices that we have inside, and not talking ourselves out of the truth that we really hold, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah. And or going into that place of fear where, you know, where it's War of the Worlds, or, you know, that you know, I experienced those moments. It felt very benevolent to me, like very authentic, you know, peaceful, like wanting, like, well, I suppose, like, I feel like my guides feel to me, you know, when I'm in that deep meditation, and it's like that. I haven't experienced a frightening, or anything frightening.
I mean, there has been a lot of information coming through, and there is a lot of manipulation, and I don't really, you know, a lot of it sounds conspiracy theorists type things, but because we're getting so close to this time where we're supposed to already have been part of the galactic community and disclosure and all that, there's a lot of manipulation going on. So there is this push to spread information and know that authentic, I guess, ETs would be the way to put it, are, you know, loving, and it's not supposed to be terrifying and scary whatsoever. So
yeah, that's how I experienced it, for sure.
Let's see.
Who's here?
There's Annie Bear, Gina, Sharon.
Hi, everybody.
Thanks for coming.
Everybody. It seems like it's been a little bit of time since I've seen everyone.
All the moderators always amaze me.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Sharon. And Gina, I see Gina now. Annie Bear.
Yeah, we're open to any types of questions. No limits, no limitations.
Alicia. Hi, Alicia. Happy New Year, everybody.
There's a lot of good questions. I guess we could, because some of them are about ET, so I guess we can start with a couple. If that's okay with you.
You know what? Can I address one quickly?
Absolutely.
I just saw Alicia. So Alicia's going through an ugly divorce right now.
Okay.
And she says, I'd love to hear anything encouraging about my divorce from abusive husband that's on drugs for 6 months. That's on drugs. That's drug on for 6 months. Sorry, Alicia. Way to start a rumor. Alicia, I know, I feel it. I went through a horrendous divorce in 2019, and it was torture. And it was sad. It was filled with sadness. It was filled with despair. It all happened so quickly. There she is. Yeah. But at the same time, I could not shake the feeling that it was necessary, that it was absolutely being done synchronistically in my best and highest good in the moment that I needed it to be. And I know that for you too. It is also a big moment for us to really take that moment to go within and reflect and really recognize, what is it in me that attracted this experience? Obviously, the big part of that is I do believe that we come in with, these contracts, these soul contracts. I need to be this. I need to experience this for my soul. And then you say, you know what? I need to experience this for my soul. So the two of you go in, we go in with these partnerships. And those that are abusing us, I do believe that we're like, I need to experience this. Our counterpart says, you know what? I love you too much. I don't want to hurt you. We say, you know what? I have to experience this. I have to grow through this. I have to do this for my own soul's growth and experience, and recognizing that truth, trust, and divine source within myself. And then to grow from it and to recognize compassion and forgiveness, all that good stuff. It's huge. We could talk about this forever, right? But I just really want to encourage you that you are where you are supposed to be for many reasons. There is a great sense of expansion within yourself moving through this, as if you have this, you're a natural healer. I can sense it within you. And this big piece that you're going through right now is a huge part of how you will be able to relate to other people. I say this often, that we all hold a different piece of the manual. Moving through lives, we all hold a different piece of the manual. And people come into our path one by one, little by little, or groups by groups, where, they're hurting and they're in a dark place and they need assistance, they need help, they need inspiration. And you, having been through this, you have the manual, you're like, hey, I've been there. I have this manual. Let me help you. So it's really a big part of how you are in service to spirit, to others moving forward. He hurt me in every human way possible and wants to continue hurting me by taking anything he can from me. Yes, I know I was meant to learn from that experience and have made peace, and I'm grateful now for it. Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about that. It's so hard. And it's so hard for us to logically and rationally and reasonably wrap our brains around this, right? But I can sense within you this strength coming out of this, where you really can make a difference for others who are going through something similar. And this comes at us in so many different areas. It's not just relationships. It can be our work, right? I mean, I had the experience from 2010 to 2008 where I experienced this abuse from a boss. And it was emotional. It was, narcissistic. And it was just like, at the same time with a relationship. And so I'm hugging you from here, my dear, and just know that there's so much light being blasted at you in every direction, and coming out of this, you will be able to pass that light on to so many others.
Talking about kind of universal connections in terms of just these challenges, and I'm getting to that, it's really hard for us to understand things from a higher perspective, especially when this experience can be so dense and so heavy. And so it's always like, from the spirit's perspective, your higher self perspective, it's always, remember that you're light, remember you come from light, and keep doing what you're doing and sharing it, even if people who come into your life may not see it or choose not to see it, because we never know where they are in their evolution, and that's not, better than, worse than in terms of vibration and frequency. It's just we are all at different points. it's also a matter of, and this is, I've been coming across this a lot, is there is this challenge in place for many of us to release ourselves as a prisoner. And and it oftentimes, and at least in my experience, it's people who, I'm not saying this is the case with you, but their jail keeper was in a past life and they were imprisoned, but it was a horrible experience, and they come into this life, and it, could be a marriage where your jail keeper in a past life is now your husband. But we've internalized this prisoner mentality and feeling so much that we lock ourselves in more than anyone else. So I think that the courage and the ability for you to see the situation that you've been through and what you can learn from it is part of your liberation. And that's really, I think, more powerful than anything. That, you've had the key the whole time and you chose to open the lock and let yourself go free. So that's kind of, I'm getting that visual for you. And that it's, and no regrets, no shame, no remorse. We're here to learn and here to grow. I agree with, I feel the contractual element there too. And Spirit says at any time when you feel like you've done all you can do in a specific relationship, that this isn't the first time you've been around, in a life with someone, there is that moment where we can stand there and visualize ourselves with that other person, and we're holding the contract, and it's like, I've learned what I have needed to from this situation. I don't think that you have it, or I don't feel that you have, and we can release it. And that's often, time and time again, that's a really powerful ritual, so to speak, to release someone from your radar. So I don't know if that's helpful to you too.
It's awesome. It's awesome. That part is liberating. And I was going to say too, Alicia, once we've been through this and we truly get the message and we get the lesson, it's like, oh, I could have had a V8. Hello. But here's the thing. We don't have to do it again. That's the most amazing part. We're through it. We don't have to experience that again. And just with what I experienced and how I came out of it and how it was a big wake up call for my own experience within me about how I felt about, am I enough? And addressing the codependence and the lack of self-worth and all that, that where we just kind of like end up being this, ugh. But guess what? You get through it and you're like, no, I am enough. And then you start to recognize, within yourself, and you start creating that list of what you're worth and what you will not settle for. And although I was not ready for a relationship, I was like, oh, hell no. I'm no. Guess what? The universe had something else in mind, and out of not looking, not expecting, I was working on myself, healing, letting go, stepping up. Here comes Evan. And I was like, I took that as a snail's pace, but oh my gosh, the most incredible relationship I've ever had in my life. I've never felt more honored and respected and supported on every level. And I'm so grateful for what I went through in that last 10 years, feeling all of what you are going through and have been experiencing. I say thank you, because now it's like, wow, okay, this is what it's meant.
It's also important to remember too that, I think this might be connected with our kind of conception of karma, that we've kind of manipulated in ways that are punishment. And we think, what did I do to deserve this? I'm a good person. I'm a loving person. Sometimes, we're all overachievers on the spirit side. So it's like, I recognize that these particular people or these particular spirits need to be able to see and witness my light, by virtue of me being me. So I've seen a lot of clients who, their unconditional love, they vibrate at this high rate that's just like they smile and it goes to the depths of your soul. But then the world is, they've chosen all these people and situations and environments where it's toxic, but it's because they're supposed to be there to show these people what it is to have unconditional love and light. So it kind of flips the script. So, you know, it's not just about, you know, your current situation, but everyone who, it's kind of like, why would I choose a lifetime where I'm constantly put under these challenges and this abuse and this misunderstanding of who I am? But it's sometimes it's just you're doing them and teaching them things that you just can't see and feel at that particular time. So yeah.
I'm hugging you from here. We're hugging you from here.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks for sharing that. I'm not good at picking questions. Let's see. Oh, this is Alicia too.
Oh, Alicia, it's your big day.
Surprise. I have severe debilitating anxiety as well, which has been amping up. I'm wondering if I should start a channel to help people because I've seen the future of Earth.
Oh. Here's the thing. If you're wondering that, the answer is yes. It's your guides pinging you, you know? And so if you're questioning and feeling that, the answer is absolutely yes. Get up here.
Yeah. That's 150,000%. I, you know, we always come up with these questions, and a lot of times your spirit team's like, why is she even asking? It's like, and sometimes it's because we're afraid to actually take action and move forward with the pain. So that happens a lot too. We just keep asking everyone, like, should I do this? Should I do that? And our spirit team's like in the background. So
oh my gosh, the validation I was asking for all the time before I got my podcast going, before I got my show going. I mean, oh my stars. I'm sure they were just, you know,
yeah.
if spirit guides rolled their eyes, I know they were rolling their eyes at me.
Yeah. Some of them do. They're just like, yeah. So do it. Let's see. Questions. So Cynthia, do you know the identity of the Antichrist?
Well, that's a big question.
Yeah, it's heavy.
I think you know, I don't know that it's any one person. I think that it's a much bigger aspect of humanity and where we are today. I think it's an archetype that is meant to activate us and enlighten us and make awaken us to the truth and who we are. I think that, you know, the devil, the Antichrist, those archetypes, those quote people, you know, we're all one. It's all one. It's not a pick and choose. Like, well, this part isn't because it's ugly and mean. No, it's all one. And I think that, you know, for years, you know, I often thought I wrestled with this for years since I really started to open my eyes in 2006, and coming up from religion, you know, as a kid, which was really a big struggle with me on so many levels. But, you know, I started to ask the questions, and I'm like, well, you know, is the devil real, and what does it all mean? And what, you know, if the devil is, let's call it real, don't you think he probably just has a job to do? You know, I mean, like, if that's it's all one, it's all, you know, connected. And if that is what it takes for us in this 3D world to wake up to the light, wake up to the truth in kindness and loving and connection and compassion and being there for each other. I think that Antichrist energy runs through all of us at different times, different moments, some more than others. The initials in your question, let's be honest. But
some dip in the punch bowl more than others. That's what
exactly
popped in my head.
But yeah, I think that it's I think that it's does that make sense, Jason?
That's really, it was interesting because a question that I've always I was obsessed with Nostradamus when I was in my teens, and I always wanted to try to figure out who the Antichrist was. And then even seeing that question at the beginning, I kind of hesitated, but then right when you start talking about it, I was thinking it's not a person, it's just an energy that, because I've heard about, the ascended master Jesus energy, Jesus coming back, that type of loving energy, Buddha, whoever you identify with, has already come back. It's already here, and it's all within all of us. It's just that we're trying, some people are trying to find a particular person, but it's actually all of us. So what you said was right in line with the feeling I had that, we're all accountable. We all have that. The devil really isn't real, but there's so many who are afraid of the devil. That's been manifested and has manifested for extremely long time. Although there's a really good book, and History of God. It's an amazing book.
Is that what it's called?
It's Guy Needler. I can't even. It's fantastic. But there's
History of God.
History of God.
Okay.
It lays out. I don't want to go into it, but part of it discusses who Satan really was, and that he's the one that actually fought for us to have free will on Earth to learn. So it's kind of interesting to think about all the ways in which free will has kind of allowed us to create, good and evil and all that stuff. But it's a good read. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. That's
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Cynthia.
Yeah, good question. I actually learned something. Seascape. On my walk, I looked down and a tarot card with the Ace of Wands. I know this is a message from my guides. What is your take on this? What do you think?
So you were on a walk and there was literally a tarot card in your path on your walk? Or did it pop into your mind? I looked down and a tarot card with the Ace of Wands. Well, Ace of Wands is awesome. I mean, that's action, manifesting, ideas, movement. And the Ace of Wands, the Wands suit is about energy, so it's this newness and taking on this new adventure towards this new commitment, this downloaded, spiritually inspiring idea. Is Seascape? Oh, there. Oh yeah, freaked. Oh yeah, I would question that too, because for a tarot card to be out in the wild like that, all by itself, yeah, that's cool.
I didn't know there were wild tarot cards.
Huge message, huge. I love it.
Coming out from the habitat.
Yeah. Seascape says billboard message. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I totally feel like that you were nudged in the direction. You were nudged on that walk. I'm going to go this direction. I'm going to, and look down in that moment and bam.
that's unique. I can't say that I've ever come
That's so
across a
cool.
pair.
I would definitely pull one out of your decks if you have them, and like put it on a magnet on the fridge so you can look at it every day, because that's super cool.
Yeah. Carol, when I meditate, I lose my body, my hands start to float up, and I get some profound information. Who or what am I connecting to?
Spirit. Completely.
It's your, I mean, I would say higher self.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yourself, your soul, your spirit guides, your guardians, your loved ones. You know, they're all there. We have an entourage of people around us.
Mm-hmm.
And when we go into that space, you know, in that meditation, and we really, really get to that place of disappearing, to the place where, you know, like you lose your body, and it starts to, you lose that, almost like that, it's dissociative, almost like you don't feel your body anymore. And you know, I've had movements happen during those moments as well. And it's, you know, there are trance channels, and that's a very significant aspect of trance, you know, when you start to move and you get those downloads of that profound information that you were talking about, you know, it's awesome. All of that spirit, you know, soul, spirit guides, guardians, guides, loved ones, all of that. There's so much, you know, it's all one and the same, and it's all one big energy.
Yeah.
I think it's so much easier for us as human beings in this body to individualize who's what and what's who, you know, with regard to spirit guides or angels versus archangels and fairies and ascended masters and other masters, and you know what I'm saying? Because as human beings with the ego identifies separately. The ego identifies individualistically, and we need to have the individual separation to recognize each other, right? When the truth of the matter is, we're all one, collectively, one conscious energy, collective consciousness. So, yeah, it's all of that. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, for those, I think most of the people here know I do quantum healing hypnosis, but I mean, it's part of it is connecting with people's higher selves. It's kind of a blanket term because it can be someone's higher self, but our higher self isn't really any one thing. It can be a collection or collective. Like earlier when I was talking about ETs coming through, I mean, I was asking for higher self, but sometimes ETs come through because that's part of that collective energetic knowledge base that needs to come through for someone to know. And it's like what Jeffrey said, it's like, it's not, there are different, I will say there are different levels of kind of access to knowledge. So sometimes, you know, there might be questions that a particular entity or being or collective does not have, but it's just a matter of asking them to, is there someone there who knows? But the thing that's really important about the sessions I do where you're connecting with higher self, it's like profound healing, and it's accessing lifetimes, or it's accessing parallel lifetimes. And the thing is it's all that person. It's not some miraculous, you know, out of the air. It's not disconnected. It's that actual person. So it makes it even more powerful. It's like, it's you. So if anything, who or what am I connected to? You're connecting with yourself in the bigger scheme of things.
Yeah. Keep going, Carol. Keep going. Yeah. I love this.
And there's a lot of information coming in right now. So just making sure that, especially with like the solar flares, that's light language, it's information. So as you know, some sources kind of paint them as being kind of scary, and you know, radios are going to go out, but it's actually from the spirit side, it's information that's actually coming that the earth needs, that we need. So Just keeping that in mind too.
I love this
for you. When will ETs make their public showing to the USA and the world?
Hi, Nancy. I think it's going to be 20, if not later this year, I think it's 2025. I think there's something, and it might not be like a full on like ta-da, you know, walking out from behind a curtain. But I think that I have a sneaky suspicion that there's going to be like something that we absolutely cannot deny. You know, that kind of experience. What do you think?
I think it's this year. If similar to you, if not next year or the next. Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be what everyone or what the movies portray it as, you know, a big ship landing. It's going to be something different where it's necessary versus hi, we're here. I mean, many ETs are already here. It's just that we are not aware of the way in which they are, and that's not meant as anything that has to do with fear is coming from us. So that's something that I always am pushed to say. So just recognizing when it happens, if there are elements of fear attached to it, that's coming from a place of humanity and not from a place of the galactic, I guess would be the best way to put it. There's going to be a lot of other things happening surrounding that, is what I get. So it's not just going to be about ETs. It's going to be about finding out about our origins and other things that have to do with the real history of mankind, I guess would be a way to put it. So it's going to be soon.
I feel that too. Yeah.
And it really depends a lot on us too. So that's, I mean, over the years, it's kind of been, you know, they've been waiting for us to do certain things. There are those that have information that have not released it in the way that it was supposed to. So there's a lot of, I don't want to say drama, intergalactic drama going on. But it is kind of getting to the point where we should have been more informed and more aware a while ago. So there's a debate that continues on in terms of how, when, and making sure that, you know, things will not happen that beings will be attacked and such. So there's a lot to play. But yes, I definitely think it's this year, like Jeffrey said. Which I think is really exciting, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think that I feel like it's going to be a really it's not going to be so jarring, like shocking, because the synchronicities that are hitting us all, especially more and more now with people, the more and more people having these experiences, the more and more people talking about these experiences, more and more people channeling and popping up on YouTube talking about these experiences, more and more people do you listen to Bashar, Daryl Anka? I mean, he's fascinating, and more people are listening to him and his work, and it's and I feel like that when they do make their presence really known in a really obvious way, it will have been so many baby steps before then where it'll be like, oh, well, there they are, you know. It's like they've been here all along.
Yeah. And I think it kind of goes along with the whole galactic guides stepping forward thing. When that started, at least when I started, you know, connecting with that aspect of people's spirit teams, I was hesitant because I would ask people, you know, are you open to the idea of galactic guides? And I never had no one. Everyone was like, yeah. So it's. I think we're more ready for it than we think we are, in a sense. And I think exactly, even with Jeffrey talking about his experience earlier, where It was this benevolent being, and there wasn't any fear. It was like, I kind of know you already type thing. I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal in some sense than we think. And I think a lot of that comes from Hollywood portrayals of, media portrayals of what ETs are and what they're here to do and everything else. And it's you just have to be able to trust that feeling in the gut versus the fear that we've been kind of raised with. At least I was
Totally.
for a long time.
Yeah. While you were talking, I pulled this card and it's manifestation, which just tells me that it's happening. It's all these little baby steps are taking place.
Yeah.
Leading up to that, to where it won't be such a shock.
No. And it's not, and I'll also add, and I've been told this, it's ETs aren't becoming more active. They've always been. It's because we are raising in vibration and frequency to where we can see them, we can sense them, and things like that. Is that something we're going on?
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
I have a REM pod up here, and a REM pod is a paranormal a tool, and I found it so fascinating that it's going off as we're talking about this right now.
I have to get one of those.
Wow.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah.
Thank you, galactic friends.
I think that's a confirmation. Like, we're always here. We have been here. Don't be afraid. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think, I guess that's kind of the end. Thank you for all the questions and everything, and everyone who watched today. And it was great getting to connect again.
Oh my God, it totally was. Oh, Kevin's here. Hi, Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really was fun to see you all again. To be here and talk spirit talk, and it's my favorite thing. And now ET talk.
Kevin's yelling at you.
Oh.
Yes, Jeff.
Oh, yes, with my yes. My favorite thing about those, I had these little spirit balls around my house. They're little clear, and they flash. All these bright colors when spirit gets close. And my favorite thing is when I'm doing readings and I'm talking about so and so's father, with the father's coming through with all these messages, and the light goes off right behind me. It's just like, yes, he's here. Yeah, so cool.
I have to get some.
Mm-hmm. Totally. I'll send you the link. Okay.
I love ghost shows, like ghost hunting shows. It's kind of my thing. I the thing is, I have a voice recorder that I use for sessions, and I keep thinking to try it out, but I don't know. There's something in me that's like kind of scared to do it. I just I don't know.
No. Somebody asked what is a REM pod? Cynthia. So Cynthia, REM pod it's a tool that measures electromagnetic energy. And that's what we are from spiritually, from the very core. We are physically, and spiritually. So when spirit is around, they can get close to the little antenna up there, and you heard it start beeping. And the little spirit balls that I have, when they get close to those, the lights start flashing. So, when I'm here kind of doing my thing and they start flashing, I'm like, hey, everybody, thanks for being here.
I don't know how I feel about it at 2:00 in the morning.
Oh, gosh, my partner, Evan, was here, and he was having a hard time sleeping one night. So he came out to the couch, and he was laying on the couch. And over here, this one goes off like 3 times in a row. And I have a camera up here that constantly monitors the activity, because I like to see orbs go through. I'm just so curious about all of it, and I want to see it all and witness it all and welcome it all. And I see the next day, he tells me, he was like, yeah, I was trying to sleep, and the spirit ball kept going off, and it freaked me out. So he came back into the bedroom. But I watched the camera the next morning, and it was so funny to see him peeking over the couch to look at it. Yeah.
I kind of have that cruel, sick sense of humor of watching people get scared.
Yeah.
When it's me, no, but everyone else, yes.
Yeah. So and for those of you, I saw somebody asked where to get. So Amazon. You know, I just got it on Amazon. The REM pod, all of the tools that I have around here. The Nest camera. You know, that's Google. So yeah.
Interesting. I think I need to up my ghost hunting game.
I've got a big old vortex going on right here.
Gina, the author, Guy Needler, I saw your question earlier. So it's Guy as in guys and girls, Guy, and the last name is Needler. It's a history of God. He's supposedly, there's other books too about other beings that he's able to connect with. So I haven't really checked him out since I read that book, but that was the first one. So highly recommended. It's a little advanced. Like I kind of was confused the first chapter or so, but later on, it's definitely worth a read. So,
you know what, you guys, I'll put the links to these things. Somebody said share the links with us. I'll put the links to these things in the comments when it's posted to YouTube. You know, when it's, I'll put it all in there.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, moderators. You're amazing. And everyone who came today. And thank you, Jeffrey, for
well, thank you
joining me and coming out of our caves. And
you're welcome. Anytime.
Yeah. All right. Well, Happy New Year, everybody. And enjoy the rest of your day. And I'm sure we'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.